On any given day in science class, you know that there are important routines for classroom management. But what are they and how do we teach and use them when we're doing different activities? So this is the first video in the routines for classroom management in the science class series. Today, we're going to give an overview of the different routines that we need to teach and utilize during our classes. So we are going to talk about the beginning, middle, and end of our classes. All right. So I'm Fleur, the face behind Aloha Monday Teaching. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. So this is the first video in what might be a 7-part video series. We'll see how this evolves as I create them. So let's get started. So here we're going to just have an overview, and the next video will be about the beginning of class. These are the other videos that I will be adding in this series. So we're going to also talk about bell work and warm-ups. So that will go with the beginning of class routine. And then we'll talk about things that happen in the middle of class, so the bulk of our classes. So these will all be different videos. We'll have one about note-taking days, labs, independent work, and projects. And finally, the end of class routines that we need to have in place. So today we are going to just go over the overview of classroom routines that students need to know for science class. We'll just briefly go over the beginning, middle, and end of class routines. And then in the future videos, which I will link when everything is ready, they will be more detailed. So that is what we are going to do. And then also go over briefly how to teach, reinforce, and correct routines. And this is all based on the blog post. So if you prefer to read, you can go to fleurstrongoli.com and you can find this blog post there. And again, everything I mentioned that has links will be linked in the description. Just remember to get your 5 daily must-do routines to run your science classroom like a pro. It's your free guide. You can get that in the link below or fleurstrongoli.com/daily. And I've added something to it. I added a classroom procedures checklist, and that way this can help with the brainstorming process or reflecting on your classroom procedures in your class each day. So that is that. All right, teaching your classroom routine. So in this video, I go over just how to teach a routine, practice it, reinforce it, correct it. So let's just briefly talk about that. So for all of your science classroom routines and expectations and procedures, students need to know what they are, and they need to know how to do them correctly because every teacher is different. So you'll want to teach them the procedure by showing them how to do it. You can explain and show, have the students practice, and then if they do it correctly, reinforce them, praise them for it. If they don't, then correct them, show them what they didn't do right, and then how to do it, and then redo the whole process. Practice it again, reinforce, correct. Now, this is something that happens obviously at the beginning of the school year, but this is something that needs to happen all year long. After breaks, whenever a class is not following a procedure correctly. So this is something you'll want to revisit regularly to keep your science classroom running the way it needs to run. One way that I like to do this, just a quick way to reteach or to correct a routine, is by having the class line up in the hallway. They don't get to come in the classroom yet. And then I will talk to them in the hallway. They think they're in trouble, but they're not in trouble. I'm just reteaching. I just want to make sure that they know before they come in. And that way it's fresh in their mind. And then they come in and then they practice whatever it is. And then I can reinforce and correct if needed. So that is just one suggestion, like how to fix something that isn't working. And remember, if it's not working and you've tried it, try a new way and see if that works better. Or ask the kids, like, how do you think this should look? Get their input on it because they're the ones that are doing it. And whatever you can live with, go for it. If it works, it works. All right, so let's talk about some routines at the beginning of class. And this is the copy of the page from the free guide. So there's a bunch more listed on this page, but I just want to go over some basic ones. So Students need to know how to enter the classroom, how to unpack their materials, how to turn in papers, what they should do. So you should have a visual posted, and then any bell work. All right, so let's talk about entering the room. So before they even walk into the classroom, they should know what the procedure is. Perhaps you have them line up in the hallway and then you greet them at the door, or you're already there at the door and so they just come in after you greet them, or they just show up and they walk into your classroom. I think I prefer, I think it's just better if you're greeting them at the door to start off that class period. It's just a lot better. So they need to know how to enter the room, and obviously they need to walk when they enter the room. Unpacking their materials, like getting their things ready, they should go straight to their desks. I know my students don't always go straight to their desk until the bell rings because they want to socialize, which I personally am okay with. But once that bell rings, they need to be in their seats and they're getting ready to go. Turning in papers, if they have homework to turn in or forms or whatever, they should know that procedure if you have a turn-in bin or something like that. And posting a visual for students. So I think this is, I'm sure most teachers do this. I don't know about all teachers, but many teachers do. So you should have some kind of visual posted that tells the kids what they are doing that day or what they need ready for the day, what they need to work on for their warm up or their bell work, bell ringer, whatever you want to call it. I call it bell work. So these are things that you should have posted so that they know what to do. And then finally, bell work is something that a lot of teachers also use, and it just gets students working and reviewing material and things like that so that you can take attendance and what you need to do, but they're also, more importantly, they're getting ready for learning. During class, so no matter what you are doing during class, like you might have a lab one day, you might be taking notes one day, giving a test, doing stations, working on a project. Like there are so many things that we do in science class. So these are the main routines that students need to know no matter what you are doing in class. They should know how to work and communicate with others. They should know how to move around the room. They should know what to do if they finish an assignment early. They should know how to transition and what to do when you're trying to get their attention. So I have a whole blog post about the getting attention, different ways to do that, and a video. So I'll link those. But so working and communicating with others. This I have in one of my resources I made for the beginning of the school year. I've got a group discussion slide and just ways that you can teach them how to work with each other and how to take turns talking and things like that. So that's really important because a lot of the times they're going to be collaborating or working with a partner, working together on a lab. So this is a very important routine to teach and to continue practicing and reinforcing and correcting. Students need to know how to move around the room. So obviously walking, but if your room is very large, like I'm very fortunate, I have a very large classroom. I've got 38 desks and I have 9 lab stations. My room is huge, so they need to know how to move around the room. And when it's appropriate to get up and go somewhere else in the room, or when you're doing stations, how to rotate. There's all of those things. They should know what to do when they finish early. I'm sure you have those early finishers too. And some days I'm like, go read a book, because I wasn't prepared. But most times I'm like, yes, this is what you can do when you finish early. So we want to be intentional about that. Transitions. So like moving from one task to another, they should know how to do that appropriately, quickly, and that way they're not wasting time. And finally, getting attention. Like I said, I'll link a video for this one, but they should know when whatever signal you use to get their attention, they stop, they look at you, they're not talking. And that way you can talk to them and give them instructions. So those are some routines that they should know no matter what you are doing in class. And finally, at the end of class, the routines don't end. Perhaps you have an exit ticket or something for them to demonstrate, or show you what they learned that day. So that could be something really quick on a piece of scratch paper is what I usually do, or you can have whiteboards. So whatever you decide there. They need to know how to clean up and pack up, cleaning their area. We just started classroom jobs in my classroom, which has been really, really good. So that's something maybe I could write or make a video for that later, tell you how that's going. So you can do jobs. unfinished work or completed work. So they should know what to do if they didn't finish work. Do they put it somewhere in the classroom? Do they take it home? Or do they turn it into you and you hold it? What about completed work? Do they wait till tomorrow? Do they turn it in? So they should know what to do there. Agenda and reminders, if you have agendas, maybe that's another routine to add in is, okay, take out your agendas, let's write in them. And then your dismissal procedures. Do you have them wait at their desks? Do they line up at the door? Like, what is your procedure for dismissal before that bell rings? Okay, so that was just a really quick overview of some classroom routines that students need to know for science class. We talked about some beginning of class routines, middle or during of like class routines, and then end of class routines. And then I just talked about how to teach, reinforce, and correct those routines and procedures. So here are some other videos you might like. And again, I'll link a lot of things below. And be sure to like and subscribe if you have not done that yet. And I'll see you next time.